to the podcast. I'm Paul.
And I'm Mark.
And we're at the tent.
Yes.
It's kind of a unique situation.
Yeah. Somewhere in the North Maine woods.
Somewhere in the North Maine woods.
50 miles west of Ashland.
Just spent the morning bird hunting.
Yes.
Get a little bit washed out, as probably everyone can hear.
Yeah.
Wind picked up.
Yeah, I was telling you a little while ago, Paul, I've come up here twice this fall, and it's rained both days.
Yes.
And it seemed like we had 2 months without rain.
Yep.
So the minute I get in the woods to go bird hunting, it pours.
Starts raining.
Starts
Well, it was
raining.
actually spitting snow today, too.
It did, yeah.
We got up in some high elevation, and it was spitting snow.
Yeah, the first snow I've officially seen. I think you had a high temperature on your truck of 38 degrees.
I didn't see my truck leave 30 in the 30s.
Yeah.
Today.
Yeah.
We didn't hit 40.
Yeah.
So we're gonna try to go out here this afternoon. Things.
Yeah, hopefully
shape
it'll
up.
let up.
So we saw 9 birds this morning.
Yeah, we saw 9 and only got 3. We had a few others.
We got 4.
4, excuse
You
me.
got 3.
Yes.
I got 1.
Yeah. Yeah, you were kind enough to let me shoot the easy birds there.
Yeah.
Right
Yeah, that's
off
right.
the-
And you're using a 410.
Yeah, I was using my my grandfather's 410.
So
today.
my great grandfather's 410.
Yeah, I shot my first bird with it when I was, 8 or 9 years old. And I hadn't used it. Had it in the gun case there for.
We're trying to get Lydia to use it a little bit.
Yeah, it'd be the perfect gun for her.
Yep.
It didn't kick very much. You had some light shells there.
Yeah.
Number 9 shot. Yeah.
Which you're using.
Yeah.
Get to be right on top
I
of
had to use them. That's all I had
all we
for
got.
it. So.
Yes, that's pretty interesting little story. I was
Yeah.
explaining to Lydia that's her great grandfather's gun.
Yeah.
And then Gramp used it. And then you guys split that gun, right?
Yeah, there was Dad, my brother, and myself when we bird hunted growing up, and we had only that one shotgun. So I've told that story before. We shared it, and then as I got older, he had a pump 22, and I would carry that, but that wasn't much for partridge.
No.
Although I did shoot a few partridge with it. And then, as I get older, I bought a single shot 20 gauge, and
Yep.
we pretty much all had a
Which
shotgun.
you still have.
Yeah, and Jeff never bought a shotgun.
No kidding.
Yeah, as I get older, I went from the single shot 20 gauge, and I bought a Winchester Model 1400 semi-automatic. I got that at Zare when Zare and Prescal was open for a little over $100. Yeah.
I don't like how that gun shoots.
No, that gun's very weak.
It's almost like, it's underpowered.
Yeah,
or something. I
for
don't know
whatever
what.
reason. Yeah.
12 gauge.
Yeah.
At that, you had to be right on top of the birds to
Yeah.
get them. But yeah, so we're at the tent. It's nice and warm in here.
It is. I'm sitting right on top of the wood stove, so I'm plenty warm.
It's cold
right
out.
now.
Get a chili going.
Yeah,
You
chili's
just
all
woke
done.
up from a nap.
I did. Yeah, it was such a beautiful day for a nap. You know, cold.
And I ruined that by
cold
hey,
and
let's
wet,
do a podcast
and
up
I
here.
got wet. I'm just wearing
yeah.
canvas pants.
Yeah.
And we walked for. Well, I'm going to round up to 6 miles. We walked, and
5.6
yeah,
is what.
yeah. So
That's what the Apple Watch said anyway.
yeah, well,
So, yeah.
Mr. Apple may be off just by a little bit.
We
there.
round up.
I'm going to round it up to 6 miles.
Yeah.
And we didn't mention, but we also saw 5 moose.
That's right. Well,
It's
we're in
the-
the second moose season.
It's the first day of the second season, and we had a mid-sized bull standing right in front of us,
Yeah.
and two cows and a calf, and they stood right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would have been easy pickings.
You said you would have shot it.
Yeah, I probably would have.
The longer he looked at it,
Yeah, the more
he said, "Oh yeah, I'd shoot it."
Well, you got to be
Oh,
honest.
definitely now I'm going to shoot it.
Yeah, you got to be honest with yourself. I could have sat there and said, "Oh no, I wouldn't shoot it," but probably I probably would have shot it there. You know, it was. It looked good.
Yeah.
It looked tasty. So.
Yeah. So yeah, no license, moose season.
Yeah.
5 moose there.
Yeah.
And we haven't seen a soul hardly at
No,
all.
very
I
few
think one-
vehicles, Paul.
One vehicle or two
yeah.
vehicles.
Yeah, I'm
think we saw.
surprised that. Yeah, 2 vehicles. I think we saw one parked, And they were probably moose hunting because they were there for a long, long
Yeah.
time. They were parked at the end of a road when we drove in, and we come back, and it must have been 4 or 5 hours later, Paul. We come back
Still
by
there.
there.
Yeah.
And they were still parked there.
Yep.
So, and he had a Maine guide sticker in the window, so I'm wondering if he was guiding somebody
Could have been.
moose hunting.
What's the topic for today?
You had mentioned it's fear of failure,
Yeah,
which is a big thing with sportsmen.
it is.
Fear of
Yeah.
failure.
Shooting, was one thing that came to mind.
Yeah. Well, fear of, and that may fall under the category that you had talked about a few months back there, fear of missing out, but fear of not being successful.
Yeah.
That's always a big fear with a lot of sportsmen.
And I'll tell you what made me think of that, because been doing a lot of bird hunting, and someone just shot.
Yeah.
That was a shotgun.
I think that was a shotgun
Yeah,
right
that was
there.
a shotgun.
Yeah.
I have this weird thing, and I'm sure a lot of hunters can relate. I have this weird thing where when I'm hunting, especially deer hunting, I want it to happen fast. There's this this moment of time, like say 30 seconds to a minute and a half, of where if something's happening and it's slow,
Oh, yeah.
it gives me like say 30 seconds to a minute and a half.
Yeah.
I can kind of get in my head.
Yeah.
So I either want it to happen fast,
Yeah.
or give me plenty of time to
Yeah.
mentally
Process it.
be like, okay, you need to get a grip.
Yeah.
And because out bird hunting, I've had a lot of shots this year hunting with Lacey and the kids that are less than perfect.
Yeah.
And I find myself, I tend to sometimes make better shots on the harder shots
Yeah.
because I am not thinking at all. It's just all kind of
Yeah.
flowing. And I think a lot of people, I got to assume.
I know with deer hunting, I would just as soon, like you say, I would just as soon have it happen really fast that I'm going along and there's a deer and I don't have time to think about
everything's
it.
kind of automatic.
And you just, yes, exactly.
And you do it.
It's automatic.
But there's like this moment
Yeah.
of time. It's not long. It's like 20 to 30 seconds,
Yeah.
maybe to a minute and a half,
Yeah.
where if I can hear something coming, you have enough time
To get
kinda
over
get yourself-
with me, it's overly excited for sure.
you get kind of worked up.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that comes, like, yeah, you have time to think about, you have an opportunity coming.
Yeah.
You don't want to blow it.
Yeah.
And you get all these thoughts kind of going through your head.
Yeah.
And at least for me, it can kind of mess me up in that time frame. And I want it to happen lickety split, or
Yeah.
give me plenty of time
Right.
to get my crap
To
together.
regain our composure. Yeah. Yeah, that for sure. I always liked when it happened really quick, and I didn't have time to think about it.
No.
And it just happened.
No.
So
And so, yeah, bird hunting, I'd noticed that, and it kind of, that spills into life in general, at least for me. There's a lot of things that I feel like the harder it is, it kind of takes the pressure off you to execute it, because you're like, well, this is really hard.
So I'm not really supposed to succeed at it.
If I drop
anyway.
the ball here, it's
Yeah.
not that big of a deal.
Right,
but if
because-
it's a slam dunk,
Yeah.
I can get in my head so bad.
Yeah.
With
Yeah,
that stuff.
that is actually true. Sometimes the more difficult things, you take pressure off of yourself
No,
because you
there's no-
say, well, it's no big deal if I can't do it because I'm not supposed to do it or
It's
whatever.
hard. Yeah.
It's hard. I'm not, So,
But
yeah.
I think of so many areas in my life, and like I said, I'm sure there's other people that are the same way. And with hunting, it's in shooting at game, it's kind of the same thing for me.
Yeah.
If it's overly easy and I have time,
Yeah.
just the right amount of time to think
Yeah.
about it, man, I can flub it up
Yeah.
easier than I can.
Yeah, that like
Slam
partridge,
bam
that's
thinking,
not
man.
not so much. Like all the shots I had today were super easy, and I felt
You were right on top of them.
That's what I'm saying, but they were super easy, and I didn't
Yeah.
I didn't think I was going to miss them or
No.
anything, and
Partridge.
I could have sat there for as long as they wanted to sit there and
Yeah.
still not gotten nervous or what. You
Yeah.
know, they were easy shots, and yeah,
but big game.
yeah,
you
yeah,
can-
yeah. There is a difference.
You can,
Yeah, there is a difference between something small and
and it varies from day to day.
yeah,
Sometimes if I'm deer hunting, I think it's I don't know if it's the environment, obviously your mood, stuff
Yeah.
like that changes your. There are some days that there have been some instances where I've heard a deer coming and I never get excited
Yeah.
one bit.
Yeah.
And then other times
yeah, yeah.
You-
Boy, the adrenaline gets
you
going.
can get all pumped
Yeah,
up.
and well, that's called buck fever.
Yeah.
And they say most people in their life have at one time or another gotten it.
Yeah.
And I will say this: I've never gotten it to the point I couldn't function.
Yeah, no, I mean
I didn't jack out my shells on the ground or not be able to fire the gun, or because I've heard some really, I would say, horror stories or funny stories about people that, yeah, they can do some pretty crazy things.
Yeah.
And but I've never.
I guess I would put buck fever on a spectrum or
Yeah.
a continuum. You've got maybe a little bit of shaky jitterness that interferes with your performance, all the way down to
You can't
totally
perform at all.
non-functioning.
Yeah, not non-functioning. Yeah,
your.
yeah,
Hey, Keith had talked about that when we had him on the podcast.
yeah, yeah. So,
he had a bout of
yeah, yeah.
dealing with stuff like that.
Yeah. Oftentimes, and I've talked to archers
I
that
think I just
have
heard
it,
a rifle shot actually.
Paul, I've talked to archers that have had that, and they call it target panic.
Well, Danny Dyer.
He talked about
talked
that, and
about
that's
that.
a real thing that a lot of archers go through
Yeah.
and stuff. And yeah, because in archery, that's especially prevalent because none of or very, very few of their shots are just spur of the moment. I mean, usually
It's
you're set up and
well
you
thought
know,
out.
you know the right, and you've got a setup, and you hear the animal or see the animal coming for quite a ways before he's where you want him to
Yeah.
be to harvest it.
Yeah.
So there's a period of identifying the animal and then harvesting the animal. There's usually a much longer period than what we're dealing with as
Yeah.
trackers or rifle hunters.
Yeah.
We're see the animal, kill the animal right then, because
Fast. Sometimes you don't even
because
have
we
time
don't have
know
to
what
wait for
happened.
him to get 15 yards
Yeah.
away or whatever. So yeah, target panic is a real thing. That
The mind's a crazy thing,
yeah, it
and
is.
it can get in the way
Yeah,
sometimes.
it can let you down.
It sure can.
Yeah,
So yeah. So and I think for a lot of people, I mean, you want to succeed at whatever you're doing, but I feel that if you're not pushing yourself to failure or close to failure on stuff, kind of throwing that out the window, like, hey, whatever happens, happens. That's starting to come down now.
yeah,
You don't tap into your full potential.
well, no,
with
any
whatever it is you can do.
right, any athlete. I mean, you take a downhill skier, unless you're riding the envelope, pushing the
Yep.
envelope, you're not. Well, you're not going to win for one thing. You're not
No.
going to win. You may be mediocre or whatever, but you don't play it safe.
No.
You gotta go as fast and hard as you can,
Ride the line.
but stay in control, and that's a gray area. That's a line, and that line is
Pushed the whole time.
moving. Sometimes
is.
you go over it.
Yeah.
Sometimes the great ones can push it the
Yeah.
hardest.
Yes.
Yeah.
They find out where their limit is, but they're not afraid to, I guess, push that limit even further.
And they all cross the line once in a while. If they didn't, they wouldn't be riding the line. If they didn't cross that line and to failure, they wouldn't be
yeah.
they wouldn't be pushing it. So
You see that in business.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Taking chances.
I think, yeah, Elon Musk.
Yeah.
I think one of the reasons why he's as successful as he is one, I don't think he gives a rat's behind.
What other people think. Yeah.
Well, that, but he can assume a lot of risk
Yeah.
for a person and
Yeah.
it not bother him.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna do it, and
Yeah.
I guess I'm not worried about
Yeah.
if it fails or not, because I'll do something else.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. And I'm not that person. I'm a guy
No.
that likes I like to stay within the lines.
Yeah, I've gotten
And
better.
I like
I
to
used
take-
to be.
I like to take the safe way in life, and like I say, that can hamper you.
It does. You don't tap into your full potential.
Nope.
Because
Nope.
you
you're
don't
up.
know how good at something you can actually be
Right.
unless you are willing to really stick your neck
Right.
out there.
Right. Yeah.
Like,
I know people who are, like I say, personally, who take risk,
yeah,
and there's been a lot written on that too over the years. They fail a lot.
they do.
They fail
Yeah.
a lot. But the thing about that is they keep trying.
No, that failure is not at the forefront of
Right.
their
The-
processing all the time.
No.
They're
their failure is just one step closer to being successful. So I know people like that.
yeah.
Yeah.
I've gotten better at being able to assume risk, calculated risk.
Yeah.
But I used to be way like,
I still am.
what's my benefit and
I still am.
what am I risking?
Yeah. Yeah.
And-
I still am a guy that stays away from the line.
Yeah.
Yeah. I stay away from that. And the thing of it is, I can be successful, but I won't be as successful.
Yeah.
And that goes with me. It's probably one of the things is like investing. I'm too safe. I try
Yeah.
to. Yeah.
I guess see, I don't care when it comes to investing.
Yeah, I do. You see,
Like, it's a number on a piece of paper to me,
yeah,
and
yeah,
I've got a different mindset when it.
Well,
I'm very emotionally disconnected from
yeah.
that.
But that is the exact same thing that we're talking about, like in sports and stuff. If
Yeah.
you're willing to take risks.
Yeah.
But
So I think in deer hunting, obviously a big hindrance in hunting in general is that fear of failing with the shot and decision making.
Yeah.
If you're deer tracking, I've had times where you kind of get caught up on whether it's speed on the deer track or maybe you want to do something unique and
Yeah.
hook around, or
Yeah.
you can kind of get,
yeah,
what's the best decision do I make?
yeah,
And you can, we've talked about this before, analysis paralysis.
yeah.
And
Well, it's like anything. When you're out engaged in hunting and tracking and stuff, you're constantly making decisions.
yeah,
You're constantly making decisions. One of the worst decisions you can make, and we hear about it all the time, is saying, oh man, it's 2:00 and the truck's, and I'm tired and I haven't seen the deer yet, and
No.
and I'm tired. Yeah, I think I'm gonna head back to the truck. And that's
and
it.
there was a good example, that book you just bought me.
Yeah.
Actually, I'll grab that right now.
Oh.
You just ordered, well, one for you, one for me.
Yeah.
Right?
It was on I think it was on Northwoods Whitetails. We've talked about their podcast.
Whitetail Memories.
They had the author and his son on the podcast, and they were.
Oh, did they really?
Yep, both. I guess his name is Bob and his son is Gabe, and they had them both on the podcast promoting the book. And
So you showed up at the house. You had
yeah,
copy
I
of
ordered
it
two
for
of
me?
them. They weren't that expensive, and
No, I read it actually one morning up here,
yeah,
majority of it, and then I finished it
yeah,
the other morning. and he has a story in there. It was a good book.
Yeah.
Some deer
Not
stories.
a hard read by any stretch
Nope.
of the imagination. So,
But he had some deer stories, and it's that time of year when you want to hear
Yeah.
deer stories. So one of the stories was about, I don't think you've got to it yet, so I probably shouldn't.
yeah, I'm only on chapter 15.
Okay.
So
I probably shouldn't spoil it, but there's a chapter in there
yeah,
where basically he's tracking a deer to the very end of the day.
yeah. But you find that reading that, and you know, we've tracked deer for a lot of years, hunted deer for a lot of years. That there's most everything in there we've experienced or whatever.
Same,
You know,
yeah.
it's not like there's nothing new under the sun,
No.
and a lot of those situations we for sure have you know, being cut off. I can remember the Veterans Day buck that you get that was over 200 pounds that we had the big snow up and
Oh,
I think
Yeah.
Chris was on it with you.
Yeah.
Well, I came to your track, you know, and I was following.
You were following that buck.
Yeah, and I came to your tracks on it and stuff, and I said, well, and I was in the same area when
Yeah.
you shot it, and
You weren't too far away from me when I
no,
shot
no,
that.
I think down the hill. I think
Yeah.
I was that little spur road.
Yeah.
We drug it out to that just a little dead
Yeah.
end road. I was down in there, and you shot it right in there.
Yeah.
So yeah, and like I say, all those situations, if you've done it long enough, you've run into almost every one of those
Yeah.
situations. But one of the keys there is persistence. They always talk about. You just go as hard and as long as you can,
Yep.
for as many days as you can.
Yep.
Time spent equals
yeah.
success.
Yeah.
So,
Eventually you'll.
yeah.
I think this year is going to be a unique year for you because
Pressure's off.
I think so.
Talk about-
you talk about that Veterans Day buck. I can remember when I
Yeah.
stepped out of the truck that day. I think I'd shot 4 deer in a row, 3 deer in a row,
Yeah. Yeah.
all 8-pointers.
Yeah.
One was
Mature bucks. Yeah.
that was through high school and then
Yeah.
first year of college, and one was a mastic buck. And I
Yeah.
can remember you saying, I stepped out of the truck that morning. And you're like, well, you said something like, if anyone's going to shoot a deer here, Paul's the chosen one.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah, you kind of get on these trends
Yeah.
where luck just kind of goes your way for a little while.
Yeah.
And I think the moose this season broke that ice.
Yeah. Well.
Because the past couple seasons, you put in a lot of time.
Yeah. Yeah. And like I say, it my freezer's full.
Yeah.
Not only do I not need the meat, I really don't have room for the meat.
So you'll be seeing small bucks all year long.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just
so
taunting you.
So, like I say, that, and I like shooting deer, but one of the things I like about shooting deer is having a winter supply of meat.
Yeah.
And there, like I say, that's not an issue this year. That
You love deer. You love moose meat.
yeah,
More
yeah,
than
I
venison.
do. I love deer meat, but I love moose meat. I want wild, organic, and I can't say free, but you know,
No, it's not free.
it's not free.
Costs a lot of money.
There was a few bucks spent in
Yeah.
filling the freezer, but
Take a look around.
exactly. Yeah, just in equipment alone.
Just for a few birds.
Yeah, yeah. Just having a moose cut up is $1 a pound, and when I say
Yes.
$1, I mean that's
Hanging weight, right?
that's hanging weight. That's the hide, the head, and everything. So it's not cheap.
$1,000.
You can spend $1,000 real quick.
Yep.
Yeah,
Just to have it processed.
just to have it processed.
Rain's still coming down.
It is. Yeah, it'll start to let up, and then you'll hear it.
It'll stop right when it gets dark.
Probably.
When we can't
yeah.
hunt.
Yeah, that's when it started this morning. As soon as we get out, although it did give us a few hours of light rain,
We
not,
did. We
not
had-
torrential.
We saw quite a few birds in the first hour and a half.
Yeah,
Or so
yeah.
right off the bat. Things were looking
early
good,
morning
but-
is the best for
Yeah.
for
That, and if you can keep the wind at bay.
yeah, and it is a little breezy right now too. So yeah, we get a few things weather-wise working against us, but that's all right. It's warm and
It's comfy.
yeah, lots
It's
of
good.
food.
No, I've had a
Yeah, you made a chili, so we're
Yeah.
gonna dig into that in a little bit. So Yeah.
No, it's been fun this season so far.
Yeah.
Kids like the tent.
Oh,
It's been comfortable.
Yeah. This is.
We've seen some birds. We've been into some birds.
Yeah. Yeah. We talked about that. This season's a lot better than last season.
Yeah.
But it couldn't be any worse, I don't think, unless there were no birds at all.
Holy smokes, last year was bad.
Yeah.
So we're going to try to go back out?
Yeah. I'd like to go out, but what I would like to do, Paul, is, the last hour before sunset
go for a walk.
is to just walk down the road. And but if it's like this, I don't know. Walking down the road doesn't sound like a lot of fun.
Sounds wet.
Sounds wet and is very cold. The good part about that is I don't mind being wet and cold for a little while if I've got a warm place to come into it. Almost look forward to it.
Warm and dry.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you were driving back here. Like, oh, I can feel the fire.
Yeah.
Warm cot.
Yeah. And a hot cup of
a
coffee.
Nice cup of coffee. Listen to the rain on the roof.
Yeah. And I did when I got back. I laid down.
Yes.
I was out in a couple minutes. So you did all the work.
I'm slaving away.
You did. Yeah, you were getting firewood and making the chili, and I'm over there snoring. So
It's all good.
yeah, and not to I enjoy a lot of YouTube channels. That's my
Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff out there.
I guess that's my habit, and I've always enjoyed. So
anyone that could strike a chord with you.
yeah,
there was a commonality.
Yeah.
Because outside you had the Benoits that finally.
Yeah.
That was about the only common thread for
Yeah.
deer hunting that I could find when I was a kid.
yeah,
Same for you.
yeah,
Because everything, and we've talked about this before, everything content-wise was kind of that Midwest,
right,
Southern
yeah,
bow hunting,
yeah,
food plot, farm hunting
exactly.
from stands, and it was. I enjoyed watching it. We would watch those like crazy.
Well, we enjoyed it because that's all we had. So
but it still wasn't
relatable,
It
and
wasn't relatable
right.
because it's not how it unfolds in our
Right.
world. And then, you had the Benoits, Halblood.
but now it's really taken off. I mean,
Now there's a lot
of tracking. Northwoods Whitetails is big into it, and Isaac Young is. And there's a guy out west in Minnesota, Nelson.
No kidding.
Stillwater Outdoors, I think, is his.
Deer tracking?
He's into
Same
deer
as,
tracking, and he's out there where very few people do it
Yeah.
in the Minnesota area. So it's not a big thing out there. So there's been
So there's way more nowadays to get that itch
yeah
scratched
yeah
as compared to
yeah
15, 20 years ago.
yeah
There was a handful of books and
Yeah.
some DVDs, and that was it.
yeah.
And
Really,
now-
the first one is How to Bag the Biggest Buck of Your Life, but
It
that
was back in the
started it all.
70s. Yeah.
Yeah, by Larry
Larry.
Benoit. That got it all started.
Yeah.
So
You had the Burners, too.
yeah,
Put out some books.
RG.
RG.
Yeah,
But as a kid, I used to read those books
yeah,
cover to cover.
yeah.
Come,
Well,
come October, you just would dream about
they not
doing
only
that stuff.
those guys not only hunted the way we hunted, but they hunted in the same areas.
Yep.
They hunted the same areas.
Yeah.
If you read their books and they give some names,
Even
and
in
stuff.
here, in this Whitetail Memories.
Oh,
by
he's hunting
Bob
this-
Cameron. There's a lot of Maine stuff in there. Probably
Yeah.
my favorite story is the one where they shoot 3 nice bucks.
Yeah.
His son shot one 229.
Yeah.
And those were Maine bucks.
Yeah.
And that's
One of the things, and they just mentioned this, and I forget what podcast it was on, and and not that it was easy, but sometimes we compare ourselves to these guys, and it's really not a fair comparison because a lot, and they said it, that some of these guys, they hunted in areas where it was not hard.
yeah.
Or it was a lot easier than what we're dealing with.
Look at Ontario back in
Ontario,
those days.
the 12 for 12 and
Yeah.
big bucks. Now, I don't care. That's not happening in Maine.
No.
You're not going to get 12
12
deer
12 big bucks.
Yeah, 12 guys. I mean, that's just, and they say, you know, not to take away from these people. They were good hunters. That's exactly what they said. Not to take away from them because they were good hunters, but had a big advantage.
Oh yeah. But I'll be honest, I don't really have the urge to hunt
Nope.
anywhere else.
Nope.
I've never really desired.
No, it's not about just going to a place and shooting a big buck. We have plenty of time and plenty of places. We're very, very blessed to have a lot of country that's open to us. So, you know, I don't need to shoot 4 bucks in a year, you know, to run around to this state and that state and to, you know, I just,
And so, like, tomorrow we're going to go into a place where we used to deer hunt. Probably tomorrow will be the day we do it. And they've opened up some of that area.
Yeah.
And I was in there the other day, and you go in there and there's so many stories along that road.
Yeah.
You remember everything. And I remember talking to Lacey about it. Even driving around up here, I'll be like, oh, this is where Lydia shot her first bird. This is where you shot that bird when we were doing this. I shot a deer down here.
Yeah.
Dad shot a deer. And she's like, how do you remember?
Yeah.
Like, I think as a hunter, you don't forget.
That makes you a good hunter when you have a memory that you can file all that, because you're filing everything away, not just those but what the animal did.
Yeah.
Experiences, you know.
Because, she was like, we saw a bird there yesterday.
Yeah.
And she's like, I don't even know what road we're on.
Yeah.
But when you go into those places where you hunted like year after year after year, there's so many.
Yeah.
And I can look down that road and see so many different things.
Yeah.
Depending on where it was, what it was like when, like in '96, when we went in with snow sleds. And you shot that 8-pointer the last day of the year.
Yeah.
I went up to that deer trail.
Yeah.
And I can remember standing on that deer trail shooting at a buck. It was way further. I was young, way further than I should have been shooting down that road. And I stood there and looked down the road. And I'm like, I can remember that deer walking up the road towards me. You guys had just gone down in the woods. And I guess you only gain that history by doing it.
Exactly.
But I don't really care to hunt anywhere else other than Maine.
No, I don't either. I have the opportunity to, Paul. I have time and the resources to go if I really wanted to, and I don't. Maybe, and some of that may be that I'm almost 66 now, so that could play into it and stuff.
Yeah.
And my priorities have changed as far as, you know, I still love doing it. I still like to get out and do it, but I can do it as much as I want right here for 5 weeks or until I shoot a deer, whichever comes first.
You're 65? How old are you? 60?
I'm 60. I'll be
66
I'll
in
be
December.
66 this deer season, during deer season.
So we went out, 6 miles like it was nothing.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I can still walk.
I didn't have to carry you out.
No, I
anything like
lagged
that.
behind there up a few hills there. I didn't try to go quite as fast as you did, but so yeah.
Even in that, we were kind of in some old stomping ground.
We
went down into a spot that you had fished at when you were how old? 7?
10 years old maybe, and that's a guess. I'm guessing that was and we had no idea we were there. We just started. After we get in there on this road, I said, "Well, the lake is right there." You did, and we found a trail, and the
we had to look over, and there's a trail.
Trail led right down to the camp that I stayed at when I was 10 years old. Only camp on the lake. Never been able to drive to this camp.
Fly in, boat in, or
when the logging practices are right, you might get a road that you can hike into.
Yeah.
And
I remember seeing that one photo of you guys with a stringer of fish.
Yeah.
You're on the front porch, weren't you?
Yeah, porch or wharf.
There was a dock going down in front.
Yeah. Yeah, that was
remote.
Yeah, it was remote then. Yeah, we flew in.
Yeah, Grandpa had someone fly you guys in, right?
Yeah, we flew in from Portage. Yeah. Guy named Claire Morrow from Portage. He's passed, and and I think that Dad paid, it was $20 per person to fly us in.
No kidding. Wow, $40 back in the.
Yeah, that was a lot more than it is today. Obviously, $40 was, but still, it wasn't. Yeah. I can still remember that. And really my first airplane flight that I remember, I had been on a plane at 2 weeks old, obviously. I don't remember that. But yeah, the first plane ride I'd ever been.
It's a float plane.
Float plane,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think that was me as well.
Yeah.
The first
When
flight I
we
ever
went
took.
into
We went
Labrador.
to Labrador.
Yeah.
Fishing. It was the first time I'd ever been on a plane.
Yeah. So. Yeah.
And I'm scared to death to get on a commercial flight compared to a.
Yep, there's
Float
a different, and I was thinking the same thing, Paul. There's a different feeling when you get on a plane that's going to take you to hunting and fishing
Yeah.
and stuff. And
The risk
there is no
worth
fear.
it.
There is no fear of that.
No, the risk is worth it.
Yeah.
Getting on a commercial plane to fly to
Yeah.
the Caribbean,
Yeah.
I don't know, the benefit just isn't there for me.
Yeah.
But anyway, well, it was lighting up, but
Here it comes again.
we can try to go out.
We'll see. We'll give it a few minutes,
All
and
right.
we'll see.
So I guess the moral of the story is,
Get outside. It's good for the
well,
soul.
don't let failure wreck your
Oh my goodness, no. Push
fear.
her right
Don't
to
let
the.
fear of failure
Go hard. Go long.
wreck your experience.
Yeah.
But
Go
man,
hard
it's-
and go long.
It's easy to worry about
Yeah.
not doing something right.
Yeah.
Yeah, go long and go hard.
Yeah.
But anyway, so it won't be long.
No.
3 weeks until.
Yeah. That's hard to believe that
Oh
it's
my
here
gosh.
already.
I
Yeah.
don't want it to come
Yeah.
because it'll be over before we know it.
It will. It'll go by quick.
You know, you look forward to it, and I see people post stuff like, "Oh, I can't wait! I can't wait!" I'm like, I know, I'm excited too, but man,
Yeah.
that 4 or 5 weeks is gone.
Yeah.
in a
Well,
blink
if you
of an
shoot
eye.
another deer after 2 or 3 days,
Yeah, that's
it'll
not
be
a lot
all-
of hunting the past couple of years.
it'll be all over for you real quick. So
Doesn't always work that way.
sure doesn't.
No. You could shoot a limit of birds with that.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll do
I
that
don't know
right
if
now.
it's going to happen, Paul. I think I would feel good about it if it wasn't raining, but
No.
boy, it doesn't sound good.
No.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
Yeah.
I guess that's it. So until next time, get outside.
It's good for the soul.
See ya.